Well, hello. Another episode of The Grift Goes On. This is Sarah, your medium on the go, with another episode of Tarot for our time. So that's an interesting slip. And today is, as you can see, as you movie fans can see from the thumbnail, it's Dr. Strangegrift, or how he learned to to scam off Middle East terrorist nations. So, because crypto, as with his son, I think Eric, and the whole family, it's funny how these the meanings of these cards have evolved from when we took our tarot classes umpteen zillion years ago. And we have it as the Ace of Pentacles. Now, Ace of Pentacles in reverse is all about, it can be about losing money, but it's also about corruption, but it's also an easy come, easy go warning. And this is what crypto is all about. The Ace of Pentacles is Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes, and someone gets the money, but very few do. So it was no problem in figuring out our focal card for today. So, all right. So yesterday I did talk about the gift jet from Qatar. According to one of my colleagues that I just finished listening to, apparently the plane has landed in Houston. That's what I heard. So I said, as I said in that video, that that was going to happen. So it's just the previous video, and if I can figure out how to do it, I'll try to add the link to that, because that kind of leads into this. So, and another thing about this is, this is there's grifts, there's crypto. That family has gained a lot from the Saudis. They are not the greatest, or neither is Qatar actually, the greatest on terrorism and the abuse of human rights. And I think one of the reporters did ask about the murder of Khashoggi, and they, of course, didn't want to answer that. Then you have Fotis just nodding off just absolutely could not keep his eyes open. He signed something, who knows what it was. But okay, so we had it filled with gifts, crypto, human rights abuses. Also, I was watching Twin Tarot, and I think it was with Gary and David earlier today. And it was really interesting because they looked up whether Qatar had any extradition treaties, and I later on looked that up with Saudi Arabia. So there's countries that he's visiting do not have extradition treaties, and it would have to be done through diplomatic bullshit, something or other, which wouldn't happen in his case. So I always thought, even before all of this grafty, corrupt stuff came out, that his visit would be to check this out for Plan B. I think he's got a few countries, in Saudi Arabia and Qatar, definitely. I think he did that with Hungary. I don't know about Hungary. It's too close to the EU, and he probably wouldn't be that protected. He could end up being kidnapped and dragged off to, an international tribunal or something. But at any rate, he'd probably be more protected in one of those Middle Eastern countries. So we want to see. The first thing was like, whoa, he's really going downhill. So we're going to look at his cognitive decline, and then we're going to see what he's trying to gain in Saudi and Qatar. I think that there's some quid pro quo, as I said in yesterday's reading. So there's that, and then of course at the end it seems to be a pattern. Is like, what is this? What impact and how is this going to affect us? Because everything he's done has affected our lives, and not necessarily in the best way. So we're going to start with his cognitive decline, which may not be that long of a read. I don't think it's going to have to be. So it's going to be kind of an abbreviated version of what I do. I think that middle one about what he's trying to gain may be a little longer. Okay, so here we go. I've been shuffling, so let's see. Let's see what we got here. So, and also the pentacle, and they do represent health. So this does also represent the decline in his health, physical and mental. So here we have the Two of Wands in reverse. I think that this really speaks to, I think it was right, it was really, if you've seen any of this, and I saw the, clips on Midas Touch and the other things, is that, with the Two of Wands in reverse, it's kind of like the rest of the world really does not want him. He doesn't have a future there. So he's looking at the two countries that do. And what this tells me in reverse is that he's pretty much focused on those are his only options. Now, what that has to do with his health, I guess we will see. So in the before leading up to this is, what is this? Oh, the Ten of Swords in reverse. So this is the interesting one, because you see that the swords are in the ground and not in the back. And since it's an after, it's the before, it's pretty much avoiding those. But with avoiding those, there's no healing. So I would also say, with all these swords in reverse, that is really representative of his mental decline, because the swords are there, and I think he may be at the point where there's really nothing that can really hurt him. His mind isn't right. So let's see, kind of, and what is kind of like the mental result of his seeing that maybe these two countries I wouldn't want to live in, are, let's see. So what we have, the Moon card. The Moon card. Yep. And this is not good for his mental health. It really, really isn't. I would suspect that what this tells me is that he's in the midst of the insanity, standing under the moon like that. And what this tells me is that those people, the Saudis and the Qatari people, they know it. And he is kind of a big baby. And I believe that Qatar gave him his toy, his shiny object, literally shiny object, because they really want something. So this is telling me that he has, in this decline of his, he is not going to be able to make any rational use of this trip, because all it's going to be is about flattery, and that's what they know. Every dictator in the world knows that's how you use him. So the energy of this, I would say, is the King of Pentacles. This represents the leaders of these countries, because they've got the money, they've got the oil, and they have got the wealth. And this is real, even though we have swords and major wands and major arcana, the energy is, it's about the money, and the money being the power. So that is what that, if it were in reverse, that would be him. But so it's all about these leaders, and he's trying to get something out of it, and it goes back to the I call it in the thumbnail, I call it the Ace of Crypto. So there's all of that mixed up in it. So I think a lot of this crypto stuff is really a delusion. It's like if you don't get in on that, it's the oldest thing in the world. If you don't get in on that on the ground floor, you're not going to get rich, but the people selling you the crypto, they're going to get rich. Okay, so in opposition of this, we have the Knight of Cups with a very good message. I would say, and he's holding the cup steady, which shows some stability, and that stability is in opposition of this. So I don't think that's why it's opposing. I don't think he's going to be listening to any of this, any sort of thing like this at all. But it's out there. It's out there. So because the knight would say, that doesn't make any sense. It's going to make you crazier and sicker, but he doesn't want to hear that. So in his conscious mind in regard to this, it's I got the artwork in here. I got to say, the King of Swords. He thinks that he can go and lie his ass off to these princes and emirs of the Middle East and get away with it like he does with the dumbasses in the States. Okay. That is consciously this is interesting because he's delusional enough to think like what works with the redneck red hat crowd is going to work with these people that are from a completely different culture and really on the top tier of wealth. I mean, they're Middle Eastern oligarchs. That's basically what they are. But he doesn't realize that. So subconscious, we have the Page of Pentacles, which is, even though this is this cold, sick, gimme, 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 like the little greedy kid, gimme, which he probably was on the, like, gimme, gimme, gimme. There's not enough. There's not enough. I need to grab all that I can. This is energy has been coming up in this readings. This is what happened to his father at his age. Definite sign of mental decline. So this is almost like the message of the new message of he's declined. He's afraid of it too because he's cognitive enough to know he fears ending up like his father, which for entertainment purposes only seems to be. So this is the fear of not having enough, even though they've acquired billions. Okay. So in the present, we have the Queen of Wands. Wow, I've seen it's funny, I've seen other readers with a similar thing with this visit, with that coming up. It's kind of like, what I feel like this is, while he's off, nodding off in Saudi Arabia and signing God knows what, and, playing footsie with all of these princes and all these things. This is the female strong presence that's going on in the States. This is the Letitia James. This is the AOCs. This is like the whole bunch of women. So while he's over there, they are not asleep. They are not sleeping. And I think I saw AOC, her little thing about. So what's happening is that this is like a lot of female energy and revamping that bill. It's not going to look anything like. But I think he may just sign it and say, I won, my bill passed. But this is what's going on while he is away. So, in the immediate future with that, he may be getting the money, but this tells me he's not going to be making very good use of it. And so as his health declines, he may make some very bad decisions money wise. So those that are upset about him in being enriched, don't worry. He may be doing some really stupid things with this. So as we go further along in the after tarot, here we have this keeps coming up upright. We have the Six of Swords. And this is this is the guy thanking the young person who helped him. This is telling me he's not thanking anyone. This is like, when it's upright, it's sort of delusional about his victory, but in reverse, this is like total delusion, and I did it all by myself. I think that they know. This is what I'm seeing. I think that these guys, these Saudis, and right now, they know, they see that he is in decline, and they may be taking advantage of him. Oh, you won. Don't forget that you're dealing with a culture that's like the haggling at the bazaar kind of thing that probably runs in all the classes of that, of the Arab world. So I think that they're giving him a snow job, flattering him. Oh yeah, you won. Okay. Which doesn't make me feel really great. So I want to pick a hopes and fear. Okay. The hoping of gaining the money and to really hold on to it, because what this is all about is whatever enrichment he's getting, he's not going to share it with the American people, and yet the American people are footing the bill for this trip. So here we've got this. Let's see what's in the background. I'm always in the. Let's see what's in the background here. Woo. I don't know. It almost looks like, oh, it's a little town. Okay. Yeah. So he's kind of out of the. He's away from the. So he's going to hold on to that. The hope is getting the money and holding on to it, but with the more and more people looking at how bad their economic situation is going to be, they'll be really getting angry. So he fears the peasants. So this is what is happening in the hopes and the fears. So to conclude, the conclusion of this. Oops, another one that I really do need to separate that art. Just, oh boy. Wouldn't be a reading without, whether it's the devil card or the devil coming up in the Wheel of Fortune. The conclusion is that devil, evil energy. There is nothing that's going to benefit, which we will get to that later. There's nothing that's going to benefit us, and yet there will be that core of people that they just can't quit him. So while I do believe he's getting weaker, but I think this will give him with the devil, it's kind of a false sense of strength, because he runs the danger of, see how loose those chains are? I mean, and they're kind of like the opposite of the cards in the Lover. And they're the flip side of the Lover card. But they could easily slip out of them, and I believe that is something that is going to happen. I mean, the core group will always be addicted. So I think what this is telling me is that I believe that there will be people, his enablers, who will be saying how wonderful this is going to be to America. But there will be some that will be slipping the chains. And this is going to make him... That's going to make him even like crazier and possibly more dangerous. So I think a lot of the stuff is he thinks he's winning over there. It's part of his delusion for entertainment purposes only. But it's also the fact that, meanwhile, back at the ranch, the natives are getting restless, and this plane thing does not help because some of his own people are really very much against that. It was also interesting, Gary and David saying, you look at those countries, he could, he's probably looking at those for plan B. But what's also interesting is that plane could be his big getaway car. I mean, leaving the scene of the crime. Because I think he's got enough of his marbles left to know that he really does need a plan B. Big time he needs a plan B as far as getting out of Dodge. So, and that plane could be the vehicle. So, as things fall apart more and more, that is definitely something that could be in the cards. So what is he hoping to gain? This is a tricky one because this is similar to the question about the plane. Like, what is Qatar going to? Well, what do they want to turn in return? And that's really tough. So we're going to see what these cards have to say, what the energy is. I'm going to use another deck as the base deck. Where did you go? There you are. Okay, so I've been shuffling these up for quite a while, but I want to ask, like, what is he trying to gain in Saudi and Qatar? Because I think that plane may just be like the beginning of everything. So there's something else that's going on. I don't know how specific we can be. I did throw out another possibility that maybe they want to invade some other country. I was thinking, could it be Israel? Nah, Saudi's kind of, they're not, right, for at least for the time being. I think they figure with Netanyahu that Israel can be useful for them. As soon as they get someone more decent, that'll be the end of that. That's for sure. Okay. Give this a little bit of a shuffle. Okay, so what is he trying to gain in Saudi and Qatar? Okay. We'll put this down. Okay. What's he trying to get in Saudi and Qatar? Okay, so here we have it's about the money. There's not enough for him. That's the whole thing. There's something that he feels as though he's going to benefit. I would say that maybe he feels a little bit unbalanced because at the end of his previous term, his son-in-law walked away with $1 billion or something like that. So maybe there's a little bit of that jealousy. So let's see, leading up to this we have, I do believe leading up to this we have the Knight of Swords. It's in reverse, and it does show him leaving the village, leaving his homeland after having told a bunch of lies. So again, it's kind of like grifting and lying, and then it has to. There's some crypto stuff going on here. Okay. Then the Emperor in reverse, which is what he is, but it's all about, the Emperor is weak. The Emperor has no clothes in this. So this is his attempt to to gain some power in the world. It's just like the, cozying up to the dictator thing. So the energy oh, here we go. Energy crossing this is the Tower. The trip has been kind of a joke so far. So I think what it is that it's just another disaster. But on the heels of his cognitive stuff, it's just another disaster waiting to happen. So opposing this is it's like the holding on for dear life, like we said, but that he may not be able to. And it's also losing his facilities with the crypto on its head. So there's the double meaning. And okay, in the past, which I'll do a before, in the past we have the he can't get over that 2020 election. They cannot get. This was like a humiliating thing, and so he's trying to. He isn't going to get much sympathy from from Western Europe and the EU because they're except for a couple of them, they're pretty democratic, couple borderline, but not fascist enough for his taste. So he, in his still wallowing in the 2020 election, and see the cat spilled the cup over. So it's like it's somebody else's fault that was a loss. It's not his. Like the dog ate my homework, the cat tipped over the dish, that kind of thing. So he's going over there is kind of like it kind of goes along with this. It's the to get his power back. So this was in the past. This was a big purpose. It's to find the exit strategy if he needs it, because this has all got to come. He may make a lot of lives more miserable, but eventually this is going to come crashing down. It's going to come crashing down. So okay, so in the here and now. Oh, interesting, because this was the thing with the last one. With the other deck, it was another deck. It's he's down to 2. He's really down to 2 in the world. I don't think there are a lot of places he can go in the world where they're not going to grab him up or, assassinate him or whatever. He feels like he's running out of options. And it's interesting because Russia's a mess. And even if he gives Putin the moon, it's just too chaotic and probably not protected enough. So I believe that he feels right now these are his only options if he has to flee. Okay, so coming up in the not too distant future. So these are I think this is, a lot of this is to go to countries to gain some prestige. And the fact that this is more of what I'm getting a focus on. Okay, so we have the Lovers in reverse. It may be coming clear that even though he's still getting away with all of this stuff here, is that it can't last forever. The U.S. is just not into him as much anymore. So it is really the loss of love that his country has for him that may be becoming more apparent. I think he's delusional, but I think there's a little part of him that I've got to have a plan B. He's very paranoid about the jail thing. And he's got the muskrat, so they feed each other's paranoia, and he's on the trip with him. So a little bit more in the future, would he? Okay. It's mommy. He needs to get the love. I think he has some mommy issues. I think that his mother was pretty much of a cold fish. And so it's just like, if the U.S. isn't going to love him, he's going to go somewhere else. This is more psychological, it seems, than it is than it is for the material stuff. The material things, because I kind of focused on what are they going to gain. So he's going over to get something for himself, or he wouldn't be going over there. Let's see, I want to do something in a little bit more, but my hand's going over here, a little bit more distant future. I think what it looks like, it's regrouping and getting a new message. Getting a new message. It's somehow, it's almost kind of like those in recovery from substance abuse, what AA and NA calls that the geographic. If I, when the drinking and using's getting really bad, you say, well, if I could move to the other coast or go here or go there, that'll fix me. It'll make it all better. So I think he's got that kind of addict feeling about, if I go over there, I'll gain a whole new point of view, bring back the message, and then they're going to love me here. Okay. So, hopes and fears. Hopes and fears. Hopes is kind of like the gaining the power again, with the gaining the message again. That's what he's hoping for. But the fear is, I think he knows deep down inside, this is something he would aspire to that he can never attain, because he can't. I think he is totally incapable of telling the truth, but he's going to come back and hopefully feel as though they'll take him as honest, but the fear is that he knows he cannot tell the truth if his life depended on it. So the outcome of this whole thing is it's the sun, it's the desert, it's knowing that if things don't work out well for him back here, that he could have a wonderful, open life, live the childhood he never got to live or whatever. So I think what this is telling me is that he is seeing the grass or the desert is greener on the other side. This is, again, we cannot get away from that whole delusional mindset. And it also is telling me that, again, he's very, very open to doing whatever they want him to do. That's the whole thing, is that that's the danger. Because they flatter him and say, oh, could you give us some arms? Maybe they're not going to, maybe it's for bombing Israel or bombing some other country that they want to bully, and that they're flattering him into doing it, and yet he can feel the love. I think they're pouring it on. I could tell by, he was going the wrong way, and the prince or somebody led him in the right direction. So they're really, they're working him. They're working him. So I think that's interesting. That didn't quite turn out the way I thought. It's very interesting, because it's like the whole wounded psyche of his, and also his escape route if he needs to. And it wouldn't only be because prison or institutionalization could be looming, but it could be because we're just not into him as much anymore. And there's some shiny new fascists up on the horizon. I don't know who they are. It certainly isn't Mr. Maybelline, that's for sure. He's pretty well hated. And a little side note is I did see, I got a big laugh seeing old Happy Hour Petey sitting there. They don't do alcohol in that country. He probably, I don't even know if of course he's on a diplomatic thing, but I think what he's worried about is his supply running out, and that he won't be, it's like, when the hell, the same thing in Qatar. He's worried that his supply will run out, and that he's jonesing beforehand. He's really in a bad way. So, the side note. Okay, so what is this going to... So I might go a bit long. Yeah. Might go a little bit longer on this because this just is not going to benefit us at all. But I want to take a little bit of a deeper dive into this and see. Oh, one of these again with the Two of Wands. It's kind of like while he is over there, at these two countries. Now this is upright. Maybe it gives us a little bit of a breather to take a look at what's going to be happening with our future with him. But I think he's probably going to be back in a day or so. At any rate, I don't think he does jet lag real well. Okay, so, because I'm saying he is not the healthiest soon-to-be 79-year-old. I mean, I know people older than him that, wow, they're buff, they're sharp, they're trim. Or if they're not trim, at least they're active, so they're not like dangerously overweight or anything. So it's, people talk about his age, it's what he's done with it. He just has not taken very good care of himself. So let's see how this is going to affect us. And I think I'm going to go just a bit longer with this one because I think it is important. So let's see where this takes us. Okay, so well, isn't this interesting? This is the Two of Swords. We're at a state, and and when I say all of us, I'm going to include these, spineless people in government. Like they know what to do. They really have the answer, but they've got to take off the damn blindfold. They really have to take it off and see it for what it is. I would say it's kind of encouraging that this card is in reverse, but I think we're kind of at the mercy of people that are they're letting him slide with the jet. You know what, I do think I was listening to Linda G yesterday, and she said, let him have the jet. This is just another nail in his career coffin for that. I mean, it's just another thing adding up, and I guess I pretty much feel that way. So let's see, a lead up to that would be in the Before Tarot. Now we have the Three of Wands in reverse, and this figure is not looking out at he's not looking out at the harbor like the other. He's focused on that bird, which is telling me this is pretty much about it's about focusing on what is at home, but there's distractions. This is a disturbing card, so there are distractions, and while he's messing around, enriching himself with crypto and God only knows what else over there, our foreign relations are awful, and the domestic scene is not looking too great either. So, and then this is the result. Oh, here we go with that bird again. Ace of Swords is that. Well, this is in reverse. I think in his absence, I think we're going to start to see some truth coming out. Now he's got a whole bunch of reporters with him, and they're not, they're asking some pretty tough questions that he refuses to answer. I think the bird is a messenger. I think that as much as they try to bury the truth is starting to come out. Because this is in reverse. This truth is starting, so the blindfold's going to have to come off. This is moving more towards the blindfold coming off. So in the energy of this is the realization of the very bad planning and all of this. We're hemorrhaging money with his golf trips and the Doge boys throwing everything into chaos. Everything is in chaos. There's no orderly saving. And, well, I think they probably will pass the budget. There's going to be a lot changed in it. There's just going to be, as I've said before, it's not going to be the same bill. I think hopefully they're going to be too scared to take the Medicaid off. So in opposition of this, we have, again, the Knight of Cups. Different deck now. This is the Knight of Cups, bringing a good message, So while we have this chaos, that there is a good message waiting in the wings. That maybe, I think the fact that he's looking like such an idiot over there could very well be, it's not like, oh, we've seen the light. I think it's that the people in the government, in the judicial, but in the legislative branch, they're starting to smell the blood in the water, and we want a positive message. So I feel as though I need to do the conscious and the subconscious of our psyche right now, with all of this that's going on with his trip, focusing on the trip. So consciously, we're worried about our homeland security. Who knows what kind of stuff he's telling them, which brings us back to the other, what they're trying to get in yesterday's reading, which I didn't really get into this because she didn't come up, but it is the Homeland Security that they're getting. They're probably getting God knows what kind of information from him that is going to be a threat to our security, just like he's been doing with the Russians. So this is a concern. This is maybe one of the primary things on our minds, because, hey, the Saudis were the architects of 9/11. And though it's like it'll be 24 years, I can't believe it, this September, it's still real fresh. It's still very fresh in our minds. So Homeland Security with a country that blew up our buildings and crashed a couple of it's okay. So this is still very much on the subconscious level, fighting all the smoke screens and the BS trying to throw us off the track. So subconsciously, it's working through all of this BS over here. But I think when there's a big concern about our security and our finances, which she represents, and the health of our nation, that we may start to be grappling at a very deep level about all the garbage that's been thrown our way. So, in the past, we'll use it before tarot. In the past, we have, here we go. We have the Queen of Pentacles. I didn't realize this is like a Garden of Eden. They have the serpent tempting the I didn't see that. That's amazing. It's like she's Eve tempting this woman with the fruit of the poison tree, which is crypto. Okay, so I would say that beforehand with those there's a mindset. It's like those televangelist prosperity dudes, like you see on Sunday morning TV. Which what he's taken a page out of their book is that let's feed them the dream of the crypto. That's the big thing. That's how he's kind of sucking in the masses. So let's feed them the dream of the crypto and and sell some sneakers and sell that's what that serpent represents with. But she hasn't taken it. She's contemplating it. She's tempted. She's contemplated, but her hands are not reaching out for it. I can't believe this is the first time I've seen this. Really interesting decks. So, which is telling me that maybe some people are starting to realize we've got to be selective about what we believe and what is going to enrich us and what's going to enrich the oligarchs. So this is this is the whole thing and there will be people that will grab onto that crypto coin, and this is what's been sold to us. So in a sense, this trip is kind of fattening up the suckers to take the poison fruit, which is not going to get them rich. But see, this is, they feed like, if you give to us instead of giving to the poor, helping your neighbor out, you give to us and you're going to become rich. So that's what this card is about. Wowee. So that's so interesting. Okay. So in the present, what we have here in the present is the hanged man in reverse. The danger, the whole thing is that he's about taking a pause and seeing things and from a different perspective. But this figure is I think this is pretty much the opposite. That there is that element of the population that thinks that this is a good idea. So this is the deception that goes with this Seven of Cups and the Hanged Man in reverse. It's the illusion and the delusion. We still have to deal with that. And that comes from the Red Hat Kool-Aid Drinker set. And this is what we're up against. But in the near future, we have the Seven of Wands in reverse. So this is taking some time out and learning how to fight smart and not getting overwhelmed by there's so much coming at us. So I would say that. So a little bit further in the future, how this is whatever's going on over there, the wheeling and the dealing with all the money. So in the after tarot, we have again the King of Pentacles in reverse, which is saying that one of the things we have to come to terms with is that whatever's going on, they are getting enriched, but we are not. This is not going to. This is the corrupt king meeting with a whole bunch of corrupt emirs and all that sort of thing, because their poor people they're in really bad shapes and they don't really care about them. So, but they're kings, so they don't have to worry. So we've got this, but the thing is to wake up and see that. That the thing is that what has to come from this is to wake up and see that. So I think I'm going to put another one here as a clarifier. So also realizing when this guy is upright, he's been carrying the burden and he's kind of dropped them. He doesn't know what to do. This one, I think, believe in reverse. He's dropped them and say, I am not carrying this stuff anymore. I am not. So I would say that a greater part of our population, as they see all the opulence and all this sort of thing up and knowing about Eric and the crypto and this and that, I think people, and the fact that meanwhile back at the ranch and Medicare and all this sort of thing is going on, they've been going in the halls of Congress, all of this sort of thing. It's kind of an awakening to say, hell no, we're not carrying the burden for you anymore. So I want to see what we have in the hopes and the fears. Well, the hope is to get back to the balance. It's just the hope is to get back in the balance, which it isn't. The fear is that we won't. So, this is, we're in a very kind of topsy-turvy psychological thing. This is also telling me that the players, which is the whole cabinet, is over there. So there's the whole thing with the substance abuse, and we've got ketamine king, we've got a drunk, and God knows what those other people are ingesting in their systems that they probably had to bring their own. They're not going to get any over there. But I think this also says is that we're feeling the toxicity of all of this running the country. I mean, just looking at Petey Boy at that table, not happy. That guy is jonesing for some booze so badly. I could feel it through the screen. So it's the awareness that we're living in a world of alcoholics, addicts, and codependents. So we need to take a good look at that. And they are just out for themselves. So we really, the fear is that, are we ever going to get out of this? But the hope is that we see it for what it is. So the concluding card, I think I'll take an after tarot. For the concluding card is the Queen. Oh, that's interesting. The Dolphin is bringing the Queen of Cups in reverse. And, what this is saying is that for her to, reach for the cup with the dolphin bringing it up, it's kind of like this whole thing, like we're looking for others to bring us the happiness and not taking responsibility, and seeing that we're very needy emotionally, and the realization that all of these people over there are basically reflective of the society we live in. We're kind of a very druggy, needy, codependent kind of a nation. And I would say that I'm hoping, my hope is that while that cat and his kittens are away, that we have with the distance, maybe we have a moment to reflect on how they are a reflection of what we are as a society. But basically what this whole spread is saying is that while this may not be doing us an enormous amount of harm, it's not doing us any good. And that while they're off in the lap of luxury, which this is all about, that we have to take a look, and this one especially tells me, fed up taking the load. And this may be a big argument, that maybe those are our homegrown oligarchs do not need a big influx of cash. And I really looked at this trip as possibly bringing this out to the forefront a little bit more. But time will tell. But I'm kind of getting a sense that while this budget may not be the greatest, to say the least, that it's going to get pretty watered down. It is going to get watered down. I don't think everything is going to turn over. The tide is not going to turn overnight. But I think with him being at a distant, making a fool of himself, that maybe we can step back, have a little bit of a breath and step back and take a little bit of a reflective look. So while this is not a great look for us and the rest of the world, there may be a little bit, while the cat's away, they may be fixing the budget bill and looking at some other things, the Supreme Court and all this sort of thing, that it isn't really as bad as I thought it would be. So with that is it. Bye.